Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Daly City Library Board of Trustees meeting. It is Tuesday, February 20, 2024. It is held at the City Hall Council Chambers. And if you want to watch on live telecast, you can go to Comcast Channel 27 or YouTube.com Daly City Video Meetings. Or you can go to our city website at www.dalycity.org/agendas. Okay. Call to order. Pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Can I get a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Trustee Goodman.
Here.
Trustee Trunco.
Here.
Vice President Lex.
Present.
And President Pacheco.
Present.
And Trustee Logarta let us know that she's unfortunately unable to make it this evening.
Okay. Now I'm gonna call for the approval of the agenda.
I move that the agenda be approved, I move that the agenda, how do I want to say this?
That's okay.
I would like to, I move that the agenda be approved as presented. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All approve?
Aye?
Aye.
Okay. I forgot to do this. Sorry. Okay, so approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion on that?
I move that the minutes be approved as presented.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. The approval of the minutes is approved. Okay, so I'm sorry. Good.
On favor?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I was forgetting. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Fair enough.
Okay, so here we are, our regular meeting of January 16, 2024. So for any public comments, please fill out a form or, speakers are limited to 2 minutes unless modified by the library board president. The board cannot take any action on any matter raised under this item. Okay, so now we are moving to presentations. And we have a report from the Daly City Public Library Associates, DCPLA. Mr. Clayton Koo, welcome, please.
Good evening. It's nice to see you all again.
Good to see you, too.
Yeah, same here. Good evening, members of the Library Board of Trustees, as well as Library Director Anderson. My name is Clayton Koo, and I currently serve as the Vice President for the Daly City Public Library Associates, or better known as the community as DCPLA. Tonight, I have the opportunity to share with you some updates on some of the activities that DCPLA has been working on over the past couple months, as well as what we have in store later this year as well. Last Monday, I attended the Daly City Council meeting, and DCPLA presented 2 grants to Daly City libraries totaling $10,300. The first grant is through the ongoing Gordon L. King Jr. Memorial Grant for $7,300. This grant will be used to provide additional study corrals at the ceremony branch to create a welcoming and comfortable space for library patrons. The second grant is through the Nora Roberts Foundation for $3,000, and this grant will be used to purchase a collection of Vox books, which are print and tech hybrid picture books, and early chapter books with audio recordings embedded inside the front cover. We just want to thank the 2 foundations for their support of DCPLA as well as for Daly City Libraries. Next month or so, DCPLA will be hosting our 11th annual St. Patrick's Day Luncheon on March 14th. This is a members-only event, so if you have not yet signed up, members of the trustees as well as those of the community, they can get an invite by making a donation at dcpla.org or in person at the event. And then you'll receive an invite to the luncheon itself. We will also have specific Fund the Need items meant to fund particular Daly City Library causes. So hopefully all of you guys can attend, as well as share it with you guys on the community. Traditional Irish corned beef and cabbage will be served to all those attending the luncheon on the 14th as well. Next, we are also in the midst of deciding the next Daly City Youth Poet Laureate. Judging is currently underway across all the applicants who have met the application requirements. We will then announce the next Youth Poet Laureate at the commencement ceremony here, actually, on Thursday, April 25th, in the City Council chambers. We want to invite all of you, as well as everyone in the community, to join us in the celebration of poetry, spoken word, and our youth. Another update, we've also announced the date of our 2024 Art and Lit Fest celebration. It is taking place on Saturday, November 2nd, 2024 at Ceremony Center. We are currently planning the event as we speak. And if you or anyone you know is interested in participating in the event or volunteering, they can learn more on our website at dcpla.org/artfest. There are online forms you guys can fill out to express your interests, as well as potentially sponsor and support the event in other ways too. And then lastly, I want to share an update from our partners with the Peninsula Book Collaborative. They're a nonprofit who we work with closely to promote literacy and community and raise funds for DCPLA. On March 9th, they will be hosting an author talk with Dr. Kristen Vogel-Campbell, who will discuss her new book, Partnering with Culturally and Linguistically Diverse Families in Special Education. The talk starts at 1 p.m. at their bookstore at Westlake Shopping Center, right next to Joanne's. She'll be sharing a few of her book vignettes, her experiences as an educator, along with a Q&A session for those in attendance. It's free to attend, and they invite the library board trustees and the community to attend if they are interested. You can also learn more about the event at peninsulabooks.org. That's it for me tonight. Thanks for your time tonight, and look forward to seeing you all at DCPL events in the year to come.
Okay, thank you, Clayton. Thank you. It's good to see you again, buddy.
Same here.
Hey, Clayton, one question.
Sure.
The event on March 9th, the book, the author book talk.
Yep.
Do you know what day that is of the week?
Oh,
Or is that a weekend? If not, I'll look it up. Just curious.
That's the one thing I didn't put a date for, but
And then lastly, are there vegetarian options, out of curiosity?
Director, do you know this answer?
It is very not vegetarian.
Ah, okay.
And March 9th is a Saturday.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Clayton Koo? No? Okay.
Cool. Okay, thanks so
Okay.
much. Have a good evening.
All right, buddy. Have a good one. Good to see you. Okay, next on the agenda is the opioid overdose prevention with naloxone. Did I say that right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we had this was something that Vice President Lex brought up at a previous meeting, and I know that he had made a Herculean effort to get somebody from the county Department of Health, was it the Department of Health,
Yes, yes.
to come. But in lieu of that, I've put together just a short presentation with some information gathered from the California Department of Health mainly, just about opioid overdose and the naloxone, so that you could, just to kind of inform a discussion amongst the board if you wanted to make any kind of recommendation related to this, and then I can also give my thoughts on it. All right. As I mentioned, it was the California Department of Public Health Substance and Addiction Prevention Office that had most of this information. I am going to definitely reiterate that I have no expertise in this area, and so I just collected this from the people who do. So opioid overdose, according to the CDC, it's an injury to the body. It's really just being poisoned when there's excessive amounts of any drug taken. Opioids specifically fit into brain receptors that are responsible for breathing. And I have a slide a little bit later that shows some of the things to look out for, but breathing is really a theme there. And of course, it's an essential thing that we do. Lack of oxygen is what's often, causes the damage from an overdose. Examples of opioids include morphine, heroin, codeine, oxycodone, hydrocodone, and fentanyl. And you'll notice a lot of the opioids that are out there are lawfully prescribed opioids. There's also prescription opioids that are trafficked in a non-legal fashion. And then, of course, there's the street drugs that we all hear about in the news. So there's a lot of different substances that can cause addiction and or overdose. And an overdose can be fatal or non-fatal. The difference, of course, is going to be whether or not they are able to get enough oxygen to their brain. And so this was from the actually it's the county health rankings that come from it's a larger community effort to track overdoses. And so this is specific to San Mateo County. I did not find anything specific to Daly City. What you can see from this is that while the rates in San Mateo County are quite a bit less than for the state as a whole, and even more less than for the country as a whole, the trend is unfortunately going up. So this is showing the rate per 1,000 or 100,000 people for the period of 2018 to 2020. So I hope that we're not seeing it from the 2020 going up again. There's always a lag with these kinds of data points.
Do we have rates on San Francisco or SF County even?
It's probably available. I didn't collect those, but yeah,
I mean, I would
we're
assume it's
right on the border,
pretty
so
high.
that impacts
Yeah.
us as well, definitely. So signs of an opioid overdose, which I think are really good to keep in mind. Again, it's that breathing, often non-responsive or unconscious. The pupils constrict to a kind of a pinpoint, as again, they're unconscious often or losing consciousness, slow, weak, or no breathing, choking or gurgling sounds, limp body, cold and or clammy skin, and skin that's discolored, grayish or blue from the lack of oxygen. And this will be seen first in the lips and the fingertips, the nails. And how to respond to a drug overdose. So it's, you may not know what's going on. I caught myself as I was putting this information together. I noticed somebody outside. In the end, they were napping, but in the park. But you don't always know. But you want to always err on the side of caution. So the advice given was to call 911 and give naloxone to keep the person awake and breathing, to lay the person on their side so that they're not going to be choking or aspirating on their own vomit, as can happen, and stay with the person until responders arrive. We've been talking about naloxone. That was the thing that prompted this discussion. So here you can see what it looks like. It does come in other forms, but I believe that this is the one that is currently most popular for these sorts of settings, like a library or a school. They're out in schools. It's probably what our police officers carry. Then it's got a name brand, Narcan, so I hear people say Narcan a lot more because it's easier to say than naloxone. And it works by blocking the opioid receptor sites, so those ones that are gonna, where it attaches to the receptors and causes the suppressed breathing. So it's gonna end up reversing the toxic effects of the overdose temporarily. So this would work on all the opioid medications, as well as fentanyl and heroin. It has very few negative side effects, and if the person doesn't have opioids, if that we're mistaken and they are not experiencing an opioid overdose, then it should have no effect. There is nothing like this for other kinds of drugs, so I know the probably most prevalent would be the stimulants. So this simply wouldn't work for that. However, one of the things that I had read that I thought was interesting is how often people are they're intentionally taking a drug, but they're intentionally also taking fentanyl, which is mixed in there. So, erring on the side of caution. And this is the quick and easy instructions. Obviously, the product would come in a package. It's just a nasal spray, probably even easier than like a reusable one. It's just got a plunger and a nozzle, and you just put it in one nozzle spray. One of the things that was advised is that you may have to give a second dose if they've taken a lot or they have something especially strong in their system. So it's something good to keep in mind. And the other thing is, especially with the calling of paramedics, is that they can, once the naloxone has worn off, they can go back into that overdose. So you really don't, it's not like a one and done thing. Oh, they're good to go. Have a nice day.
Do they recommend spraying in both nostrils if it seems
If
like there's either non-responsive, especially if
if
it's
the
fentanyl?
first dose did not work, then you would administer a second dose, and they did suggest that try and do the other nostril if you can.
Got it.
If in the heat of the moment you don't remember, it's not an essential thing. So that was just kind of what I had gathered in terms of information, so we can talk about this. I also put together a list of what I thought were the main considerations if we were talking about having naloxone in the libraries. Just as a little bit of background, I do know that the San Mateo County libraries do, they have, the county has really put a lot of energy and resources into preventing overdose deaths. And so one of the things they did, they put them in schools and of course in the county libraries. Other libraries also do this, but it is not by any means universal. So we would need to go ahead and obviously find a source for the naloxone. It's now over the counter, so it's actually considerably easier to obtain it. And I found, I think it's the California Health and Human Services has an overdose prevention program where it looks like it might be available at no charge to us. And because we're not a large organization like San Francisco Public Library does also carry it, our needs would be more modest. But again, it's a drug, so it also has an expiration date, so it's not something that you just do and it's done. We would need to maintain that as well. We also need to think about where it would be kept, and that's something that I work in the library on site, so it's something I thought about a lot. Staff training, whether or not a policy was appropriate or needed, and then if we did acquire it through that one source, the Department of Health and Human Services, we would need to maintain logs, documentation, and send those back. So just to put my 2 cents in, all the libraries have AEDs that we talked about previously, and this kind of falls into that same category. And I think it would be, if it's something we do decide to move forward with, I think it would be nice to have it out in a public space where when it is needed, anyone can intervene and save a life. So that would be my recommendation on it.
Is there any talk about fentanyl testing strips? Not that, in San Francisco, I could see that being better use, but to test your drugs to see if there's fentanyl,
There has not been discussed, like to distribute them?
yeah, like people that sometimes are going to use, whether it's cocaine or whatever, just because you're buying coke doesn't mean it's not laced, which is now the big thing to test after you read about the kid in Berkeley who died, and it's likely fentanyl. There's a lot of clubs, bars carry it just because, obviously that's a very different environment than, say, a library, but, I don't know if that's a consideration or if it would even be a need.
It wasn't something that I had considered. I know, it is part of kind of a more holistic harm reduction model. And I know, I think I don't know that they're distributed in any of the libraries, but I'm sure
Yeah, I
that
feel like
some
San
county
Francisco
health.
Main Library may do something like that, but it's a very different environment down in the Tenderloin,
it is.
obviously, than here.
Now, Chayla, have there been incidences where people have overdosed in the library, where people have, collapsed and
No, actually,
okay.
not in my time there, which I feel.
or
really
other
great.
branches in Daly City?
Not in Daly City.
Not in Daly City,
No,
okay.
no. We've been very fortunate. Very few medical incidents as well. I just, it's.
Okay.
How about in San Mateo County as a whole? Is that so much a thing? Or you haven't really heard about
I have
people ODing or needing to have this, and
Specifically in the county
libraries?
libraries, I have not heard back from them if they have had a need, no.
I mean,
can-
based
I
on
can
the
find out.
numbers, it's very low compared to
Yeah, and I don't know.
county
yeah.
and state and U.S. as a whole, which is a good thing, but
Jayla, thank you very much for putting this together. It was really nice and succinct and easy to follow. You did a great job, so I really appreciate your stepping up. In a way, this is exactly what I would have hoped to have had from county health. So
Oh, good.
thank you very much.
I learned a lot, actually.
Yeah, I'd like to second what the vice president has said. Good job. I was not aware that this was happening, and so will this be in the San Mateo County libraries, like Daly City? Will we have them?
So so Daly City would make its own determination on this, and so I honestly was not on our radar at all because we really haven't had an incident, but
Right.
you never know when you will, until Vice President Lex brought it up. So it's something that now I understand, how it could be made to work and what the resources might be. It's something we could move forward with, but since the idea had originated with this body, I wanted to make
Right,
sure.
exactly. And I mean, it is a good awareness, especially to the public, that this is an ongoing issue. And it's always good to have some type of resolution and idea to be placed in
Yeah, this is the sort of thing I would need to get approval, obviously,
from the city council, right?
administration, Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was going to be my next question. If we support having this in the library or in the libraries, what would the process of approval be?
I would relay, the feedback that we've received here and probably just bring it to city administration and see if there was any, it could be as simple as, yes, make it so. I don't believe, because there's not really, there's no need to source funding necessarily. I don't know that it would necessarily require council approval, but I would have to confirm that.
Okay.
Because, no, go ahead.
And if we were going to recommend this, would it require a place on a future agenda where we could actually take a vote? Or could it just be a consensus, of the board?
I think it could just be a consensus of the board, just sort of, the advice coming from the board to move forward with it. And I can come back with additional information if that's how we want to go, and let you know, if it's been approved, and if it has been approved, what steps, that we've taken.
Okay.
I like that. I like the idea, what you said, because having this awareness now concerns me with the safety of the community, especially the children, teenagers, and
I think also because we do have our main library is in a park,
right.
and two of our other libraries are near community centers. So even if something doesn't occur in the library itself, I know people come to the library. It's not that uncommon. If somebody wants to call somebody broke into their car or whatever, they'll come into the library to reach police, or so we're just kind of like the reception desk
Right.
of life.
Well, we're
Here we go.
a community resource center, really.
Right.
Exactly.
And people come to us whenever when materials are needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there'll be staff there that are ready and willing to help.
Well, I think it's fortunate that we haven't had any incidents that would require this kind of intervention so far. But in my opinion, it would be a good thing for us to have in libraries, because we would not want to have a solution to a life-threatening situation and not have made it available either to members of the public who are in the library or to staff. And I like your idea of having it in a publicly accessible place.
Yeah, I think it's because it is something that we can just do. Like it would be time is of the essence, and it would be definitely behoove us to
Yeah.
have it available and be able to respond if the need arises, and if the need doesn't arise, that's also a good thing.
You're here.
Yeah, because where I believe where someone were to overdose, the first place they're going to probably do it in is in the restroom. And I mean, I'm not too familiar how I know how the John Daly restroom is. I mean, you have to go outside the door and then, but with branches like Sarmani, Westlake, and what's the other one?
Bayshore.
Bayshore. Yeah, those are inside now. Bayshore, I think you just can go in there, right? Or
So
there's a code.
Bayshore actually has gender neutral single occupancy
Right.
bathrooms. Yeah, and they're just open when the library is open.
Oh, okay, but the other libraries are like that too. You just can go in there and then.
So currently, yes,
Okay.
yeah. And so if there's something amiss in the bathroom, that is
Yeah.
much less uncommon than these other things.
Okay.
Somebody will typically report it to staff.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Are there any other questions, Commissioner Tudor? Do you have any questions?
No, I just co-sign with all
Any
what y'all are
thoughts?
saying.
Any thoughts, buddy? Or
I agree with it. Like I like the idea of it being in a public place in terms of like similar to like the AED, so it's just easily accessible. I agree in terms of like, like to have it available in terms of a means of prevention. So just because it doesn't happen here as often, it's like, we should be prepared just in case. So, I agree.
okay. And Rachel, any final thoughts from you?
No, I mean, I would say if fentanyl test strips are available at either cheap or free, I can't think that it would hurt to have it. Whether people are using at the library or at home, or your kid and you want Adderall and may or may not have been laced depending on where you're getting it from.
I'll have to. I
mean, I don't
that
know.
wasn't part of my research, so I'll have to look into how
Yeah, I know it's
the
more,
logistics.
I don't want to say popular, but most college campuses, of course, I don't know how prevalent that is yet at like elementary schools or high schools. I'd say elementary schools, usually hope not, but I mean, high schools maybe. I don't know. College campuses, I know they say every health center carries fentanyl strips.
Right.
Just because people associate with heroin, but now it's finding that it's laced with pretty much every drug unless you're getting it at a pharmacy. So kind of ups your ante if you want to
Interesting.
take something to test it first.
Rachel, would you be open to a two-step process where we would express our consensus for support of putting naloxone in libraries, and then consider adding fentanyl strips as a follow-on discussion item?
Sure.
And in the meantime, Chayla could, explore any issues that might surround having fentanyl strips.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if that's something should or it should be carried at libraries. I don't know if there's issues. I mean, City Health might have them or something, or there's a.
They may. Yeah, it's often there's discussions amongst library directors regionally, and so I know that quite a number of libraries have talked about and moved forward with naloxone, but I've never heard the test strip.
So it might be like not as big of an issue as in say San Francisco or somewhere where it's more prevalent that you'll have overdoses or a lot of drug use, possibly even in the library.
Yeah,
I've seen
in the
crazy
bathrooms.
stuff.
Yes,
Unfortunately, but
yes, unfortunately.
Okay, is that it for the comments? Anyone else want to add on?
Yeah, I would just like to, and maybe you were going to do this, Gary, but ask for the support of the board to express our support for this addition to the libraries and to ask Chayla to carry it forward to city management and administration and then report back to us.
Yes, I will agree with Vice President Lex on that. I will also support that notion. And any fellow board members would like to support it?
Support two.
Okay. Clean sweep.
Excellent, thank you so much. And I'll definitely report back on how that
Okay,
turns out.
there you go. Good job. Okay, next on the agenda, the director's report.
I didn't know how long this would take, so I don't actually have anything special to report other than I did want to mention that there was the storms and we had a power outage.
Right.
A series of power outages, and well, every once in a while, once a year or so, it happens that the library actually is not affected by the power outage, which is lovely. And so the city manager made the call. They opened some of the rec facilities as sort of respite centers.
Very good.
I had mentioned like the libraries are being well used. And so he brought two of the libraries into that to be open earlier and stay open later. So we opened at 8:30 on that Tuesday and stay open all the way until 10 p.m. So staff worked overtime. I think we all were scrambling around looking for power outlets, but I did want to report back just because it was quite remarkable. Monday in particular, because the areas around Ceremony were most affected. So we keep a door count. Our security gates keep a door count, and so on a normal Monday, it's throughout the day around 500 people coming in. And on that particular Monday, it was 984.
Wow.
Wow.
It was like people like on top of every, try and the clubhouse was also open, but I think the clubhouse at this time does not have Wi-Fi, and so clearly that was what people were seeking. So that and power outlets, obviously, and a nice, warm, friendly environment. So we were extremely pleased to be able to offer that because obviously, community service is what we're here for, but it's nice to see it have so much impact at once. And in fact, I actually received a couple of emails from people mentioning it, including someone whose elderly parents are local, and she's in another state, and she was so worried about them and so happy to know that they had a warm, lit place to go and weren't
Wonderful.
just sitting alone in their house in the cold. So it was very gratifying, I know, for all the staff, and I wanted to acknowledge the city manager who made the call to do that, and it's good to be able to provide that immediate response to an immediate need.
How did the Westlake branch fare with its roof?
Oh, yeah, that's what's gonna,
That continues to be leaking. It's in the same location, so it's well controlled, I guess you would say. I know that the process that the city is going through to resolve this, which is not a construction process at this point, is ongoing, and the action is happening, but it's not the kind that you can see a result of yet, unfortunately. Ceremony didn't leak at all, which surprised me because we had a large crack in the roof and horrible leaking last year. But our public works folks mended it, and they did an amazing job. So, yeah. Anyway, we do. In the event of a power outage, the libraries will generally be open if we have sufficient light, and then once we don't, we go ahead and close. But when the library is open in a power outage and there's no power in the library, it's a much different situation, and it's usually pretty quiet. People still come in.
now, do people come in just to stay dry or get certain help, like,
Come in
like
and
Wi-Fi and
read the
things like that?
newspaper, or
Okay.
yeah. But it's people.
They don't sleep in there, do they?
No,
it's-
no, no.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll be it's usually poor weather, so not necessarily people from the park, but
Okay.
just looking for a place to go. We get a lot of people who study and maybe
Right.
they don't have a nice environment for that at home. So
Okay.
anyway, that was all I wanted to report.
Okay. Any questions for Chayla regarding the issue? Topic, I should say.
No, but it's a good time. I think it's my roommate who was like, I could read my whatever ebook, and I was like, no, you can't. I mean, for as long as your phone or whatever, like, if you have any power, but
Yeah.
he was like, I can't believe how many books you have. And I was like, this is why people need books.
Yep. Otherwise, you're huddling around a power outlet somewhere.
Yeah, with your candle.
Yes, I did that with candles, and I
You'd
won't
burn
say
your
that
book,
word
no.
like it, but I did. It's not good.
Okay. Any other additional comments or questions? Okay. So moving on, trustees report.
So I only have Dr. Alexa's biography.
Oh man, I forgot. Oh man, sorry about that.
So I didn't go ahead and post it. I had sent it out to everybody.
I just put my
but-
name on there.
But I did not go ahead and post it because it would just look odd. So I was kind of waiting until I had at least most of them. So if you want to send that to me,
And actually, I need to revise mine and
Okay.
update it. So
perfect. I
Okay.
was trying to figure out how to lay it out on if we want
Right.
to keep it all on the same page or create a separate page. Just don't know.
So this is just a bio on us and
Just
random factoid?
a little blurb.
Okay. I like libraries.
Decided to join the board out of an abundance of enthusiasm for libraries.
Okay. Any other questions for Chayla regarding bios? No? Okay. So next on the agenda is the library board online presence.
Well, that was all I had for that item.
Okay. So that's out of the way. Okay. Next on the agenda will be the community and library outreach.
You were at the library.
You can go ahead, speak, Miss Rachel.
Oh, about.
About your wonderful visit.
No, I mean, I go to the library a lot. That's all I can say. More than a lot. I mean, I'm always a fan of if libraries are open on weekends, but that's a battle that I will have to fight with someone with money and time and people, but.
Any other?
Did anyone make it to the first annual Lunar New Year celebration?
No, I missed it. I totally forgot. I remember I got the invitation and I went whoop, over the head there, so I
For a
apologize.
first annual, it was so nicely attended. It was lovely. It was here, and definitely recommend it for next year if
Okay,
you can make it. It was lovely. The library had a table. We did some arts and crafts.
Oh, fun.
Yes, I saw that on Facebook. Yeah.
the last time I was at the Westlake branch, I saw what I thought were new faces. Do we have some new staff there? Perhaps aides even?
I believe we have. Does she have a new aide? I don't know. There's a somewhat new full-time library assistant there.
Ah, perhaps that was the person.
Maybe.
Okay. Anything else to add to that? No. Okay. So next on the agenda is announcements and communications. Go ahead, Jayla. No. Okay. Okay. So next will be the agenda building for the next meeting. No? Okay.
So I have the
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
fentanyl test strips.
Yeah, I already emailed you something on it, Shayla. There's
you.
a FAQ. I mean, I briefly read it, but it looks. I'm curious. They're really cheap. It said like $1 a test strip, but I mean, I wonder if they donate to, like, if City Health, or even if if Daly City has a City Health program that they're like, oh, we have extra test strips, or we don't need this many, we could have some in libraries. I mean, obviously that has to be decided on if you'd want that in a library and if that's the right appropriate place.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. It does seem like something that might be distributed in the same way that the naloxone is.
That's my thought. Yeah.
Anyone else?
I'm just
Go
glad
ahead.
that the city manager made the decision to open the libraries, you know, when we were having the weather situation with the power outages. Have we done that in the past, or is this relatively new?
I don't believe we have done that in the past.
Yeah, well, that was my sense too. And in that vein, you know, I feel like commending the city manager, I mean, for taking the initiative to do that. It's really what I think libraries should be doing. And I'm really glad to see us moving in that direction under his leadership.
Exactly. I agree with you.
I will pass that along. Yeah, well, frequently the library also doesn't have power, so it's not much of a resource. But in those instances where we do it, this was a great thing.
Do we know if all San Mateo County libraries decided to do the same, whether it was South City or any other counties?
The county libraries had somewhat extended hours, I believe, although they didn't look. They often, I mean, their regular hours are somewhat extended relative to ours. And they were providing, I believe, I think they had partnered with Red Cross, like
Oh,
bottled
nice.
water and snacks. and
That's
such.
great.
So we had the advantage at ceremony anyway of being right adjacent to the clubhouse, and they were providing coffee.
Yeah. I was going to say,
nice.
and 7-Eleven, but they may not have had power.
It was such an interesting thing to watch the areas that
The
were
grids.
affected.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone else want to add or?
Any
Okay. Well, I just want to say that, yes, that was very nice of Tom to do that. You know, really reaching out to the community when they're in need. At least they have a place to go to that will at least help the situation and put, you know, things at ease for a little bit. So my hat's off to Mr. Tom Piccolotti for that. Okay, so here we are to the adjournment of the meeting.
I move
Go
that
ahead.
the meeting be adjourned.
I'm sorry,
Second.
second, there you go. Okay. Second, can I get a motion for it?
all those in.
All in favor?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That concludes the meeting for February 20th, 2024.